Mark Schieblo is an attorney with over 29 years of experience. Call him today at 773-775-5050. Visit his website at SchiebloLawOffice.com. That's SCIBLO lawoffice.com.
The views and opinions in the following show do not necessarily reflect that of this station or its ownership.
And welcome to 1590 AM, a political talk show right here, brought to you by the Multi-Format Network. That's right, my name is Dennis Sonar Green, and you are listening to the most generic political talk show on the market. You know, when you go into the store and you've got all of the fancy packaging and the extra steps and the flash sales and everything else, and then right at the bottom of the shelf, you've got the box with the ingredients on it and 3 letters, or maybe it just says macaroni on it. We are trying to be as straightforward with the news as we possibly can here on A Political Talk Show. Me, Dennis Sonar Green, you can find me at Sonic Engineer. You can find my executive producer, the esteemed Bendemonium Boquest. Thank you, sir, for once again helping me muddle through this.
My pleasure, man. We're all muddling together in this. We are news. This is news, and you are listening. Generic news. We grew up in a time when news was just boring.
Yeah, it wasn't 24 hours, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
When I was real little, it was just the news. You watched whatever time it was there. And then as I became like an adult, it became the 24 hours. You mean headline news and all of that.
Yeah, it's this weird thing. Like, news is cool. Like, look at me, I'm informed. And God bless it.
Yeah.
Why not?
And that's the thing about it, too, is I was listening to, what was it? I think it was Joan Esposito on 820, if you want to listen to the progressive side of Chicago.
Shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not afraid to shout out another radio station. We can all share. But that was the point, is somebody was making a point about how they're all about sound bites now. And we have to punch back when somebody attacks somebody, and I've got to come up with an equal quip. So he said this, but he also came back with this. Ha ha ha! Funny TikTok. Let's go. And someone brought up, like, no, there are people, like you and I, Ben, who dive into this, who turn around, and we are the mouthpieces, whether or not we have a show or a broadcast station or the ability to sit behind a microphone. We're still those people who are engaged. And those are the people that I want the number to grow. That's what we're trying to do with this show. Yes, the news can be dry. Yes, the news can be non-entertaining. But you know what? It's news. It's sustenance. Sorry, doesn't all have to taste that well. A pemmican. We survived hundreds of years on pemmican, or what is that bread? The hardtack, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
So
lambus bread.
Exactly, lambus bread. Yes,
Yeah.
Folded up in our leaves, made by hobbits, or no, the elves.
Yeah, the elves.
But anyway, yeah, we've had that before. We've had things in our lives that were just here. Here you go. Eat your peas. Arguably, eat your green beans and Biden. We're always trying to promote nutrition around here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
weird.
It's important.
Well, your diet is important. Just like your diet for what you take in and out of sugars or anything else in your body, your diet of your news reflects who you are and who you intend to be. And we intend to be as informative as possible just to get our spiel out there into the world. In case you never heard an episode of a political talk show, if you haven't, you can listen to all of our archive, or most of our archive, as soon as we started putting it on the internets. Just go to your favorite podcasting platform, A Political Talk Show, right there. And without further ado, let's go right into something that has been quick, come and gone. It went through. You know that we're coming toward the end of Trump's what is it? The business side of it, the fraud in New York with and Goron, I believe, is the judge that's over there. And they're coming up with their closing statements. They're supposed to do their closing statements today, I believe. Well, earlier in the week, Judge Goron said, yes, Mr. Trump, you can testify. You can do your closing statements. You can go. As soon as I read that headline, I knew it wasn't going to happen. We've had this before. I mean, the guy's gone on the stand and then had to leave and then wanted to come back on the stand or introduce like he wanted to introduce evidence like on the stand. He's like, I got this note in my pocket. Can I do this, Judge?
You guys want to see this?
Yeah, do you want to see this? I got the note right here in my pocket. And the judge went, no, man, there's like a process for this. You can't just like, this isn't Law and Order. This isn't like my cousin Vinny. Like, come on, guy. Shout out to some cool media out there. But at the same time, like that's what it's got to be, cut and dry. That's what we need our legal system to be. We can't have like this whole flash and dance routine with it. And that's what this is turning into, is this flim-flam man is just making a mockery of things that should be pretty standard that we all agree on. Well, anyway, of course, it's been turned around, can't give his closing arguments. Judge Arthur Engoron rescinded the permission of Donald Trump to give his own closing arguments in his New York civil business fraud trial. Trump's lawyers objected to the judge's insistence that he stick to relevant matters. And that is where it comes in. And I'm getting this off of an algorithm that kind of pulled everything together. If you're looking for something centered and kind of just to the facts, The Hill will do it, but that's essentially what the facts are. You can't bend them anyway. If you're looking for a certain flavor, go ahead and find anything else that's out there in the world. Portland Press Herald also has a good centered rating if you're looking for that. Try to give you the references as well, like we said. But here's the rub of the entire thing. Is last time he was on the stand, and former President Trump, he had a really hard time sticking to the case, sticking to witnessing or being a witness about the things that are happening in front of him and pertaining to this case. He kept bringing up the election. He kept bringing up, well, not just the current election. He kept bringing up past elections. He kept bringing up FBI investigations that have nothing to do with the fraud aspect of what he's doing here. I believe at one point he even mentioned just the clerk and everybody who works there. Like, guy, you cannot just go off rail and do it and then say, well, I testified for 6 hours. Well, yeah, dude, like you recited the ABCs to me for 6 hours, that there was nothing pertaining to it. So that's why Judge Engoron pulled it back. He said, yes, you can do your closing arguments, but you have to stick to relevant matters. What do you think about this, Ben?
How relevant?
Well, do you think he should have to stay, or is it just an open platform for this guy to have his closing arguments?
Yeah, no, that's what it seems like it would be. I mean, just...
I hate to shotgun you, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, with everything, it's just insanity. And you can see what Trump's doing from the outside, and it's not hard to.
Well, I think you said that too. The outside, buddy, is the people that are actually looking at it, the people that are inside, entrenched, engorged on Trump media. Back to our diet. I think they're not going to hear this, which this is going to, I'm going to get all my Trump stuff out in one shot, because this brings me to my other one of Trump now saying that he was never on an Epstein plane.
Right.
Flight records say at least 7 times, I think is the number. He's also been found out to be Doe 174 in the whole Epstein side as well. We knew that Clinton had one. I think Clinton was like 36 or something. I can't remember. It was a couple days since I've read. Yeah, that's where we're going to with this now is the lies. The lies that you can prove like instantly. Mm-hmm. But still they double down on it.
He's just it's every instance for him to speak is just another opportunity for him to get his lie, his media out there, because he knows that his people only listen to him. They'll only take his matter of accounting of things, his story, his side. So every time he does that, it just reinforces that for some people, and it's just past the point where people aren't going to switch how they think, and no matter what facts come to light.
Well, let's take it to a higher elevation. Let's take it to liars in general. You lie to a person because you don't think that they would understand the truth.
In instances, sure.
I mean, honestly, even if I stole, right? If I was a person who stole things and someone came to me and said, "You stole that thing." "Oh, no, I didn't. I don't steal. I wouldn't be able to turn around and say, "Well, look, man, I ain't got shoes."
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things. Or, "I'm sorry, I'm ashamed of myself. I couldn't help myself." It's easier for me to lie than it is for me to admit whatever it is, or for me to open up to the truth. A lot of times the truth is just harder to say, especially if you're a prideful person.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
But to me, a lie is, I think you're too dumb to understand what I'm going through and why I did the thing.
Yeah, that's a lot of politics lies. Which is,
Yeah.
Oh, you want to get into that?
You're too, yeah. Well, I wanted to get into it just because we've only got like 2 minutes left.
My brain just went off into just thinking about maybe the current administration a little bit.
Exactly. The same thing. We will lie to you because you're too dumb to go find the facts out for yourself. Or, God forbid, you remember the facts. There's so much information that is just thrown at you every day, you may not even remember the facts. Oh, what was that? What was that Treasure Island pedophile guy's name? The other, Gregory Feinstein. What was it again? Like, that's what they want. They want you to forget. And because you are things are easily forgettable, they can tell you the truth right now. And you're right. The current administration does the same thing. And I'm going to get into them into the next segment. Ooh, my goodness. With these guys. Back to the wanting to lose or wanting to be part of it. We're looking at 16 again, where everyone said, we don't want this candidate. Please don't give us this candidate. Now we've got a bit more insight, hence the segment right before that we're going out into. But we'll come back with some more news that we've got. Hunter Biden made a surprise appearance in front of Congress. It was behind a bush. He just went boop. And James Comer almost pooped his pants. Be right back. Apolitical Talk Show right here, 1590 WCGO.
Are you looking for a way to be creative right now? Have you ever wanted to learn to watercolor paint? You can now do that from the comfort of your own home with Zoom watercolor classes. Get professional instruction from nationally showing artist Victoria Elizabeth. These classes are step-by-step, broken down with easy-to-understand instructions. They're affordable, too, at $15 for a 2-hour class. Visit her website at victoriaelizabethart.com to find out more. That's victoriaelizabethart.com. Every year in Illinois, over 30,000 drivers are arrested for DUI. Due to improper testing procedures, many people end up being wrongfully charged. The book DUIs Decoded cuts right to the chase and tells you how proper DUIs arrests are supposed to be made, from the initial traffic stop to the reasoning behind the field sobriety test, all the myths and facts about taking a breathalyzer, and more. DUIs Decoded is written by nationally recognized DUI expert witness William Polarinos. Available now at Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my family.
I see safe for my friends.
I see say for my students.
We see say for each other.
I see say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
It's really fun.
It's easy.
I'm really glad I helped.
There's nothing like our Great Lakes beaches for year-round outdoor fun, but we do need to protect them. Thanks to Adopt a Beach cleanups, more of our shorelines are being kept healthier, safer, and beautiful. The Alliance for the Great Lakes wants you to join this movement with thousands of volunteers. Learn how at greatlakes.org/adopt.
It's just something that's so important.
Beach cleanups are fun and make a huge difference to our Great Lakes and all they offer. Countless pounds of litter end up on our beaches each year. About 85% of that is plastic. With your help, we're cleaning it up. Bring yourself or come with a friend. Community groups, schools, businesses, everyone is welcome. You can make a difference and have a lot of fun doing it. Go to greatlakes.org/adopt and join us on the beach.
The Great Lakes! Yay!
Welcome back to 1590 WCGO 1590 AM. If you are listening on those airwaves, we call those over the air, OTA, if you will. If you are an OTT, over the top person, or like I like to refer to you guys as the digital people, you can find us on twitch.tv/multiformat network. You can find a political talk show on your favorite podcast platform. And you can learn more about Ben Demonium Boquest and myself, Dennis Sonar Green, at multiformat.net. All of the different places in the world that you can find us, or you can always hop into your favorite search engine, or ChatGPT-4 will actually look us up.
Sweet.
It's cool. It's pretty neat. You can tell your ChatGPT, hey, a political talk show with Dennis Sonar Green. What's that all about? And it'll tell you. It'll look it up. ChatGPT 4, though. Not 3. 3's pretty dumb. Well, dumb compared to AI standards at this point. So, without further ado, Benjamin, we've got a lot to walk through today. There's been a lot of fist fighting and people just claiming things and saying stuff and back and forth with this. There was an entire committee about holding Hunter Biden in contempt. And the regular characters were there. This is season 2, so that's a bit more. Well, actually, if we count it by years, this is probably season 6 or 7, if you count how long this guy's been investigated. Most investigated person in all of U.S. history. I would claim that. I could say that. I could say those things.
Maybe.
Citizen. Yes, citizen versus person. Trump is obviously on the way to break that record. But can you tell me a little bit more about what happened with the thing? There was the two people that are in each corner. We've got Marjorie Taylor Greene on one side, and then we've got our boy Jamie Raskins on the other.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened here? What's going on? Set the stage for me.
Well, naturally, it is the most Jerry Springer-esque day of politics, or of in the court system there. They're bringing Hunter Biden in, saying that he's in contempt for not showing up to these subpoenas. And the argument, there's a lot of fun arguments that people are having, and if you haven't been paying attention, there's been a bunch of kind of lewd stuff brought up by the other side. Marjorie Taylor Greene famously put out pictures of Biden, blew him up on giant postcards. And kind of just creeped everybody out.
And she just pulled him out too. She had an aide, I think, have to hold it as well, and then it was just.
It was kind of like the first segment, like, "What's in my? Want to see what's in my pocket?"
Exactly.
Like, okay, no,
yeah, she went
Marjorie.
straight for the throat with it because it's all about, like we said before, it's all about that shock value.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was Jamie Raskins kind of calling her out on it. Do you have the clip for it?
Yes. So this is before she was able to do that.
Unanimous consent to enter information for the record.
What's the information?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. State the information.
Thank you.
I reserve the right to object.
That's
the minority has
Raskins.
not provided a copy of the material for the record. In the past, she's displayed pornography. Is pornography allowed to be, or pornographic photos allowed to be displayed in this committee room, Mr. Chairman?
It's not pornography.
Okay, well, you're the expert. How do you?
I'm not an expert, Mr. Raskin.
It's just devolving.
Mr. Chairman,
It's very important stuff, actually.
I know you are, but what am I? Like
Just.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well, and then that is experience right there. I mean, Jamie Raskins is a constitutional law professor, and he has been in for easy part of a decade, if not longer.
Yeah,
so
long standing.
Last time that they had a hearing where she was putting in evidence, and he brought up a good point. They don't see it. You didn't bring up this evidence when we were all putting it together. You didn't say, here's some evidence. This is what I'm going to use, which is customary for most law practices. Like this is what I want to bring Ricky into, and maybe a couple other lawyery scholars, because we got to reveal the veil out of this. This isn't Jerry Springer where you can just pop something out, or Law and Order where you can pull something from your jacket and go, this is the real murder weapon.
Yeah. Well, they got it through, so there's no denying it now. Well, actually, it just kind of messed it up.
Well, and the biggest thing too is Jim Jordan with this as well, who is continuously, every day, every hour, every minute, defying a subpoena from the January 6th committee. I believe they held Steve Bannon in contempt for defying his subpoena. But Jim Jordan still clocking on. It just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. So that's the rub of it. But Hunter Biden made an appearance. And what Hunter Biden is asking for with this committee is not to go behind closed doors, but to be open in front of people. To look, if this is so bad, if this is the smoking gun, if this is the stuff that you want, you guys keep going on television and saying one thing and then not doing it. Example. They go on and say, we're going to interview these people, we're going to do this stuff, and it's going to be behind closed doors. We are going to release the transcript. And then never release the transcript. But they'll go on whatever talking point, platform, whatever they want to do. They'll go on broadcast, and they will say whatever they want to because they're all protected by the speech and debate clause. So they can go on television and say whatever they want to about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden did this, things did that, blah, blah, blah. And Hunter Biden can't do anything about it because they are members of Congress. Speech and debate clause prevents them from really being held accountable for the things that they say. I know it's weird. Of all the people that should be held accountable for the things that they say, it should be them. But that's essentially the clause that lets them embellish, let's say, because don't want to flat out call a congressperson a liar, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you can't just say things. James Comer is not a liar; he is an embellisher.
Yeah, they're just jovial.
So, well, here's the other thing I have for you too, Ben. Is let's say in a happy world, government is running efficiently as it possibly could. You have 100% faith in the government. Would you still prefer open interrogations and open investigations for a committee at a certain point, or everything be open? Or would you be okay with like, no, I trust the government, it runs efficiently, things get done, go ahead and do it behind closed doors, I'll read it afterwards? If you had 100% faith in the government, would you still allow them to do it behind closed doors, or would you want it open?
I'd still want it open, TBH.
Yeah.
I mean, just because it's hard for me to imagine trusting the government that much. So
that's true.
From my position, it's kind of like an impossible question to answer.
Would you trust the government more if more things were open and more things were on the C-SPAN?
Sure. At least, maybe not trust, but, trust that it was being accounted for.
That somebody's watching, that somebody's doing it.
Not me personally.
Yeah. No, like Media Matters. Yeah. Like Media Matters or anybody like that. Yeah. No, I absolutely get it. Yeah. You and I have got too much stuff to do. But no, you're absolutely right. But if like a larger independent conglomerate like Midas Touch or David Pacman, you know somebody is out there doing it. Even if it's Right Side Broadcasting Network, somebody is still watching all of this stuff to do it. There's enough of us in America, we can take turns.
To at least go back and say, oh, well, this is what you piece it together. They're all your favorite sources.
Yeah,
this is what actually happened.
I'm going to register to be this hour's babysitter of Congress. Like, just sign up. Yeah. It's the sheet. I'll see you next week, Ben.
Right.
Have a good time.
Yeah. The idea, though, of it being completely private, it's not terrible. Like, in a world where you really trusted the government, in the name of not being so sensationalized and muddled through, the ridiculous mob mentality that the news lovers.
The force, right?
Yes, the force.
Like the libertarians are always about, it's all force of violence, and that's how they get you to pay taxes.
Exactly.
Like, no, they get me to pay taxes when they fix a road.
Yeah.
Put up a school.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, I mean, if just the transcripts were printed out instead of, live on C-SPAN. In more.
You would rather have transcripts at least, minimum?
Yeah.
Being able, and that's a lot of the trust that's out there. I bring this up because there's a lot of power that is floating around for our government, specifically a certain branch. There are people out there that are arguing that the certain branch of government should be able to do whatever it wants to. Essentially, we elect kings instead of presidents. And yes, hyperbole, Sonar. Why are you so serious all the time? This is essentially it. They've had a hearing in D.C., and it's the D.C. Circuit Court as it's moving up through to the Supreme Court, who will eventually take it. The only thing that's happened so far that the Supreme Court has taken up is the 14th Amendment clause. That's the one that they've taken up. But there's another one of presidential immunity. So now there is a certain job requirement of the president to do things. And sometimes that causes problems when I make a decision. Let me give you an example. I make a decision to, instead of letting you drill in Alaska, me as president, I come in and I say, no, I don't want to do that. I'm a different president, or I'm not going to do whatever. Suing me personally as the president is a no-no. You can sue the United States, you can sue the government, whatever you want to do, but you cannot sue me directly, Dennis Green, President Joe Biden, ex-President Donald Trump, etc. So what one party and one person who used to be president is claiming is that if a president was not found guilty under impeachment by the Senate, they are not allowed to be held accountable, criminally accountable, which is the exact opposite of when the impeachment was happening.
Yeah. It's almost like they're, yeah.
Exactly. So while the impeachment is happening, it's, oh, well, we can't impeach a guy that's on his way out. I mean, he's practically a lame duck. Let the courts decide all of this. In fact, the Senate minority leader at the time had a great speech about how we've got to heal the nation and just let the courts decide what's going to happen. Well, here we are. The courts are deciding. And now they want to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Dude was acquitted. No. They let him off the hook and said, let's just let it go because the courts will finally do something. We have the rule of law here in this country. If you can get my impression. Obviously, I think highly of the fella. But essentially, that's the question that's coming up right now is they call it presidential immunity. And this is the question that one of the D.C. Circuit judges asked. I believe it was Judge Pan. And you can read the transcript. It's everywhere. I'm sure there's 300 and some different articles that have already been written about it already. Pick your favorite flavor. It's there. The audio is what it is. But essentially, Judge Pan asks, so is it okay, because you say that the president, as long as he's doing it within his own job, is immune to it, so the president could send SEAL Team 6 into wherever and assassinate a political rival. And if he is not found guilty in a impeachment process, then he can't be found guilty in a criminal side. And Trump's lawyer said yes. Not in as many words, but yes. He came back with, I think it was an official yes, categorically. He said categorically yes. Mm-hmm. So, hypothetical, Joe Biden.
Yeah, this is what they never have a defense for, is using their own logic against them. But yeah, please.
So here's a hypothetical. Joe Biden can turn around and blow up the Supreme Court himself. Like, walk over there with a suitcase bomb, put it somewhere. Then, immediately after he's done doing that, he resigns. Can't hold an impeachment. He's no longer the president.
Hey.
Therefore, no crime was committed because he was president at the time.
Dark Brandon loophole. Jeez.
Yes. Kamala Harris takes over, and now they get to appoint every single person. Or, let's say Joe Biden grabs the suitcase on Election Day where they're supposed to certify it, and he grabs the suitcase and he runs away and then immediately gives up.
Yeah, you don't want to get into those scenarios.
You don't. Apolitical Talk Show, 1590 WCGO. We'll be right back with more silly things to talk about like this. Driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs in Cook County, DuPage County, or Lake County, Illinois, call the law office of Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050. That's 773-775-5050. Attorney Mark Sheblow has over 29 years of law experience handling DUI defense, traffic violations, CDL violations, and Secretary of State driver's license reinstatement hearings. All aspects of your case will be examined in order to find evidence that may help your case, especially the statutory summary suspension of your driving privileges. If your breath alcohol concentration level at the time of the DUI arrest is 0.08 or more, then the summary suspension of your driver's license begins 46 days after the arrest. Time is a crucial factor in challenging the summary suspension of your driver's license. Our law office is located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. And again, our office phone number is 773-775-5050.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If you have been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs in Cook County, DuPage County, or Lake County, Illinois, call the law office of Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050. That's 773-775-5050. Attorney Mark Sheblow has over 29 years of law experience handling DUI defense, traffic violations, CDL violations, and Secretary of State driver's license reinstatement hearings. All aspects of your case will be examined in order to find evidence that may help your case, especially the statutory summary suspension of your driving privileges. If your breath alcohol concentration level at the time of the DUI arrest is 0.08 or more, then the summary suspension of your driver's license begins 46 days after the arrest. Time is a crucial factor in challenging the summary suspension of your driver's license. Our law office is located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. And again, our office phone number is 773-775-5050. Welcome back to 1590 WCGO, a political talk show right here, brought to you by the Multi-Format Network. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. Across from the glass from me is my esteemed executive producer. That would be Bendemonium Boquest. And that's right, you can find him on the internets at Bendemonium. That's it. You've had that for a while, sir.
Yeah, I got that locked down. I got that nickname working at the Applebee's kitchen there. And during rush hour, I'd be screaming, "It's pandemonium! We've got hot tots and swinger dingers." All the crazy names, the what do they call those sizzle words on the menu? We used to have fun with that on at the Bees. So shout out all my Bees crew.
All the Bees?
Yes. Yes. And yeah, find me on Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, some variation of Bendemonium. You can find my Patreon. Give me some money. How about that?
Hey.
I'll get that out there.
Same thing
I think
at Bendemonium?
It might be Anti-Disestablishmentarianism Nightly, which is my podcast, actually. So go check that out, too.
It's all good stuff right here in the media world as well. We've got something that we want to do for you today, loyal listener or watcher. We're going to walk you through a couple of stories that all kind of lead into each other. They all have a connection. They're all, we like to think, or at least I do, I don't want to put words in Ben's mouth. He's got plenty of them in there already. Everything's connected. Everything is connected. That's it. I mean, me connected to you, connected to them. There's always some, it's not 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's pantheology. Everything is connected. So, first thing we're going to talk about is the Secretary of Defense and how there was a miscommunication with that. walk into the environmental problems that are happening with Israel and Gaza, part of that defense side of it, as they claim, and go into a happy ending of how we are cleaning up the environment and end it with that. So let's first go into the, as Led Zeppelin says, the communication breakdown, and go through what's happening. You told me that Biden, president, not the son, didn't know that his own defense secretary was ill. And did it come off because Lloyd Austin played it low and they just didn't raise a concern for it? Or was it more of like they didn't want to raise any kind of concern?
It comes down to the old psychological principle, whichever one that is. I'm not, full disclosure, not an expert in psychology, but I do have one of my own, I guess. So it comes down to like, oh, someone else will do it. Someone else will tell my boss that, you know, I'm sick. I'm in the hospital for 4 days. And what happened was his main aide was ill at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So for 4 days, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, here's highlighting this article from NBCnews.com. Austin was diagnosed in December and underwent a minimally invasive procedure. Walter Reed Hospital. The official said in a statement Tuesday, hours after Biden was informed of the diagnosis. Basically, he went. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin diagnosed with prostate cancer last month. Developed complications from a minimally invasive procedure he underwent to treat and cure it. And the complications led to Austin being admitted to Walter Reed from January 1st and eventually in the intensive care unit. Austin remained in the hospital until that Tuesday. And as stated in the beginning, that's when the first time Biden had heard of this because of that communication breakdown. And one angle that I wanted to talk about with this story was that it became the story when it first broke. It said that it was an elective procedure. So just the framing of that is pretty.
And that was from probably Austin's people to begin with.
Most likely, yeah. Just where I saw it was the NBC.
No, there's also investigations. Because that's all it is now. It's just they don't have time to actually, investigate why house prices are so big. They don't have time to investigate how to like keep the government open. But no, they'll have investigations on whether sick Secretary of Defense Austin violated legal requirements by failing to inform Congress. And that's why the Biden administration right now is kind of upset with him, because I don't think they made a real effort to inform everybody. And I get it. People get sick, people go, but there's at a certain point, like you've got to be able to answer an email. You've got to, like you're at this stage of the cabinet.
Yeah, it leads me to ask how many week-long stretches have gone between both of their parties.
Yeah, they said it was what, 4 days?
Yeah, 4 days during some pretty heavy stuff going around.
Yeah, defense
worldwide.
Secretary. You're talking about Ukraine, where the money again is coming from the defense side. Oh yeah, that's right, because we don't have a Secretary of Offense. Just to let you guys know, we have a Secretary of Defense, where we defend everybody with our offense.
Yes.
I don't want to get confused. Like one day you just show up and it's like, who are you? Oh, I'm the Secretary of Offense. Yeah, I build the bombs.
It's very meta.
So to go on to that, I mean, shame on you for not disclosing these things, et cetera. That's where I think transparency, government. You're a government official. You're on the clock. You should probably have a camera on you.
Yeah, you just got to at least be efficient. In
accountable,
your accountable.
Be there. We're back to people just like phoning it in, man. Imagine if this guy had to turn screws on a door for Boeing.
Right. Well, I'm actually a big fan of a lot of things Austin has said. He's kind of come out, been one of the.
How is he
people
going
to-
with the Israel-Gaza stuff?
He's one of the people who's had good quotes for as much as they're worth.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say ceasefire, but as far as it goes,
Yeah.
he gets pretty close.
Mhm.
He's like kind of like Gavin Newsom with the same thing. He doesn't say it flat out.
Don't. Come on.
Come on.
Careful. Careful, guys.
He's just a boy.
Yeah.
Leave him alone. Anyway, that's essentially what we're going to next. You told me that the environmental impact of what is happening in Gaza right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just thinking of this from our conversation about the missile defense, stuff going on in Ukraine and Russia. That can't be great for the environment either.
No.
Just, a bunch of bombs in the air, explosions. Sounds hot.
It does. And I'm sure the people at the bottom of that arch aren't happy either.
No. Yeah, that's why are we doing this? Okay, this is highlighting an article from theguardian.com stating emissions from Israel's war in Gaza have immense effect on climate catastrophe. So the first months of the conflict produced more planet-warming gases than 20 climate-vulnerable nations do in an entire year, a study shows. That sucks. The climate cost of war and militaries can no longer be ignored. The planet-warming emissions generated during the first 2 months of the war in Gaza were greater than the annual carbon footprint of more than 20 of the world's most climate-vulnerable nations, new research has revealed. If you didn't like that point reiterated, I love that about articles. They just go, they'll give you the headline and then the first
the first line's the same thing. The Guardian's real good at that.
Mm-hmm. This is the radio though, so hopefully it's all about hammering that point home. So just hearing stuff, it's different than reading it.
And it's 20-some nations at the bottom end, and I think that's essentially what they're saying is of all the nations that have a carbon footprint that's there, it's those 20 fill in one ongoing war that's going on.
Yes. So yeah, the most climate vulnerable, meaning those which have the sea level rises, they lose this much coastline. Otherwise, air quality is taken into effect. Which
arguably Gaza is in anyway.
Probably, yeah. The vast majority, over 99% of the 281,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide estimated to have been generated in the first 60 days following the 7th of October Hamas attacks, can be attributed to Israel's aerial bombardment and ground invasion of Gaza, according to the first-of-its-kind analysis by researchers in the UK and US. According to the study, which is based on only a handful of carbon-intensive activities, and is therefore probably a significant underestimate, the climate costs of the first 60 days of the Israel military response is the equivalent to burning of at least 150,000 tons of coal.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I understand war is big business, but at the end of the day, if you're not ensuring that you can keep it going, then that's bad business.
Well, and that's what it is. War is just a giant pit that we like to pour money into.
Yeah, don't you want this to keep going though? So just cool it.
It's like it's literally the have your cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. The problem is we keep eating our cake and going, well, we don't have any more cake. We'll buy more cake. Okay, well, we got to use this cake now.
Yeah.
Well, eat it. Eat the cake. You got it. Oh, well, then we don't have any more cake anymore. Then we'll buy some more cake. Like, that's what it is. It's to consume.
Mm-hmm.
And we consume it in death and flame. But you said there is something a little bit more that we're consuming. And you said that there is a nuclear side to this and a solution that's on the horizon.
Yes. This whole article reminded me of another old article that I saw this summer. And if you were listening to the radio show at that time, I did a show with this as a segment of it. Vox.com has put out an article. This is the title. It was released February 14th, 2023. So last year, about this time. 10 years ago, we were turning nuclear bombs into nuclear energy, and we can do it again. Here's a story of how we turned 20,000 Soviet nukes into zero carbon energy and how we can do the same with some of our own. Or anyone can. Just a decade ago, 1 in 10 American light bulbs was powered by dismantled Russian nuclear weapons.
Wow.
How about that?
Yeah.
Bulbs. That was made possible by the Megatons to Megawatts program, an agreement negotiated after the collapse of the Soviet Union to convert uranium from Russia's nuclear weapon stockpile into fuel for U.S. nuclear power plants. The unconventional policy was first proposed by MIT physicist Thomas Neff in 1991, New York Times op-ed. By the time Megatons to Megawatts ran in full course from 1993 to 2013, it had eliminated about 20,000 nuclear warheads.
Wow.
Yeah, and stood out as a point of shared pride in the often jaded arms control and disarmament field. Nearly every commercial nuclear reactor in the United States received nuclear fuel under the program. The then U.S. Energy Secretary Ernest Moniz remarked when the final uranium shipment left St. Petersburg for Baltimore 10 years ago, he said, one of the most successful nuclear non-proliferation partnerships ever undertaken. So that's what's already happened.
Let's continue that.
Right.
And that's what we want. That's how we get closer to our utopia. I mean, we're not going to get to a utopia. We're not going to all sit around and eat grapes all day, fed by robotic ladies, listening to electro jazz or whatever it is in the future. But we can get closer. We can at least get better. We can at least stop a little bit of the suffering that comes through.
Right. Yeah. What's the rush?
And I like obviously I like the megatons to megawatts. That's a way cooler marketing than I would have put with it. Like I would have put like bulbs to bombs to bulbs or something like that, like you were saying. But yeah, I think that's the way to go. But that's the contrast to it, and that's kind of what we're going to end you guys on today. But go ahead.
It's less sexy to go with that option of just melt them. We're not gonna. We're not going to see the fireworks. We're going to have war.
Yeah, instead of blowing everything up and going from there.
It's the fun business way that everyone likes to see it. But again, in the name of, if you're thinking business-wise, which people in that industry, I would think, do.
Well, business-wise.
Would you not want to proliferate your business to keep it going?
Well, because we've got this thing in business of pride of being self-made, right? We've got this whole self-made attitude. Oh, well, I just stepped into this thing. I'm self-made. No, you drive on roads. You use electricity. People make sandwiches for you. You're not self-made. No one plugged into a society is self-made. So if you embrace that and say we live in an ecosystem with each other, economic, governmental, social ecosystems that are all connected to each other, when we feed the ecosystems, everyone benefits. Call that whatever you want to, socialism, communism, anti-capitalism, but I don't believe it is. I think the capitalism grows when you have a solid foundation and a solid ecosystem that is driving it. Thank you for listening, Apolitical Talk Show. Thank you for listening to our musings. If you ever miss a episode, make sure to go to your favorite podcasting platform and look up Apolitical Talk Show. We'll be back tomorrow with more news, 1590 WCGO and the Multi-Format Network.